Hi, welcome to this Open Security Summit in September 2022. And we're joined by Ashley, which is going to talk about a super massive, important, I would say, challenge that we have in industry, which is that we need to dramatically increase our talent pool. And there's a huge amount of talent that is out there that sometimes doesn't come into cybersecurity because of imposter syndrome or all sorts of other things. So as the title says, not technical, not a problem. I completely subscribe to this, and I'm really looking forward to hearing Ashley's story. Over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So we're going to walk through my story of how I got into cybersecurity, InfoSec. So remember, if you're not technical, it's not a problem. So I want to start by introducing who I am. So I'm Ashley. I'm a newbie to security. Literally, it's been a year, not very long. I have a Bachelor of Arts Community Studies and a Master's of Environmental Studies. None of that relates directly to security. I need to point that out. I'm an expert in career exploration, and I am an animal lover. As you can tell by my photo, that's Michael Keaton, the cat. I have 3 cats and 2 dogs, just to let everyone know. So this is going to be my story, how I entered InfoSec. Please, if you have questions, share them in the chat. I'm totally open to having discussions. This is going to be a bit about me, but I want to hear about you too. So we're going to talk first about my journey. This presentation will look at the jobs I've had, my career exploration, and my pivot with some fun extras. Okay, so let's start with jobs. I've had a multitude of jobs in my career. I was professor in political science in First Nation communities. I was a career resource and instructor in the career field, and I also did disability career management. All of these jobs, they were great in their own way, but I was unhappy. I'm going to explain why I was unhappy. Pretty much, I felt like I was never going to succeed. And what that means to me is, and we have to recognize success looks different to everyone else, but success to me means that I was going to grow, I was going to achieve goals, I was going to be happy in my job and happy in my life, but I never got there. I felt like I was stuck. I never felt like I was going to grow. I started actually getting what's called compassion fatigue, which is when you start feeling less bad for others. I was lacking empathy, and in the jobs I was in, I needed empathy to succeed. So I recognized with support, it was time to stop, and I went on medical leave. I'm going to suggest anybody who wants to take a break, and if you can, do it. For me, medical leave had no regrets. It was the best year off I've ever taken. In that year, I started thinking about myself. What do I want in a job? Why are jobs so important to who I am? Does myself, like who I am as a person, really depend on what I'm doing for a living? And for everyone, it doesn't, but for me, it actually did. It really mattered that where I'm spending 40 hours of my week, that I'm happy there. So I decided it's time to change a little bit. I just started networking, some career exploration. I will say this, and it was a funny point when I look back into my career. I had a sticky note in my office saying, you will get into cybersecurity someday. I literally had that sticky note. And the reason why is I was helping so many people find their careers. I was doing career exploration on my own. I didn't even know it, but I got super excited when people were in security. I was finding myself beyond happy, excited, asking questions. And I knew years ago, that's what I wanted to do. I just didn't have the guts or the confidence to make the change until I felt I was pushed to a level where, hey, maybe it's time to do it. So I started networking. I just talked to anybody who would talk to me, to be honest. I wanted to know everything I could. What kind of skills do I need? Do I need skills to do this? Where should I be at? So I did career exploration, did a little skill questioning. And then I realized I have to pivot. I need to pivot here. So that's when I started defining my network. Okay, and networking is, not everyone is comfortable with networking. I think I have to put that out there right now. Some of us just aren't comfortable with talking with other people, and that's okay. That is okay, right? It's a matter of you being comfortable with what you need to be comfortable with. For me, I feel I succeed more when I'm in discussions. So I started networking. I ended up talking to people. I joined actual communities. So like We Hack Purple community, I joined that. Anything I could get my hands on to learn about security, I was there. Then I started mentoring. I looked for mentors. I found people I could talk to. Anyone that could answer a question for me, I was interested. All right. And then from there, I started learning. I started reading, researching. I did a few courses. I hated them straight up. I'm not great at online learning. I know that. But from there, I scored an interview. Okay. So right now, after medical leave, after hating my jobs, I've scored my first interview in security, all from networking and talking to people. And then I got the job. Yes. So this goes with growth, okay? The first job that I got, and this was with Wave Financial, which is a fintech out of Toronto. The first job I got was a risk analyst. A risk analyst is the people who stop fraudsters. They're the ones out there saving your money, making sure there is no risk as you're online banking. They're rocking it. I didn't like it. So I'm in security, I'm in risk, and I didn't feel I was a good fit. So I spoke with my manager, said, listen, I'm seeing some flaws with your training. I think because I was a teacher, I could be better there. So I transitioned to another role. That was 3 days into being a risk analyst. Jen, can you mute yourself? Because you are just so happy. I love it. Thank you. So I was a risk analyst. 3 days afterwards, bang, I'm now a risk operations analyst. What that is, literally is doing onboarding, training, helping ensuring that the people who are studying to be risk analysts in the business can do their job effectively and have everything they need to read, write, watch. I did really well at it. I felt I was very successful at it, but I still wasn't where I wanted to be at. And I started recognizing, well, there's this thing for governance risk compliance that we didn't fully have. I was like, maybe I should do that. So me and my manager worked together. All of a sudden, I'm a GRC security analyst. So now I'm working with auditors. I am helping compliance. I'm writing policy. Everyone's coming to me about policies. It was pretty interesting, but it still wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. So with a lot of pressure, not even a lot of pressure, a lot of push on my end of what I wanted, a fantastic manager, I became an information security program manager. Now, this is what I am now. That encompasses a lot of herding cats. I am making sure people get their projects done on time for the security team. I'm a liaison between outside stakeholders and our company, as well as engineering, risk, all the other organizations or all the other little departments in our company. They come to me and I help them. It's relationship building at its finest. And I am in love. I love this job. I literally get to do PII training. I get to do PCI certification. I get to do all this cool stuff that I never once thought I could do. All right. I never once thought that I would end up in a year in a dream position. Never thought I could do it. And this is where I want to transition. I managed to build myself up from jobs that I hated, a place I was sad, somewhere I felt that I would never succeed, to a job that I feel valued, I'm respected, I feel like I'm a part of a team, and I'm growing and succeeding. It's a wonderful feeling. But how do you get there? And that's through the use of transferable skills. So for people who don't know, a transferable skill is a skill you have that you can utilize somewhere else. And believe it or not, each one of you, everybody, has over 1,000 skills. So we don't think about this, but even let's just say going to get groceries, there's a pile of skills utilized in going to get groceries: decision-making, planning, budgeting, communication. I have to find out how to get there. So that's going to be mapping, Like there's a lot of skills we use every day that are transferable. And, when I think about me personally, turns out I could technically write. I never thought my ability to be able to write a policy, to be able to technically write information would be valuable in security, but it turns out it is. It is very much needed and useful. I'm able to deliver technical information to non-technical people, which I did through my teaching. Never once, when I was in my bottom, where I was unhappy in my roles, did I think my skills could be transferred and useful in security. Turns out they are. And this is where I want us to kind of focus, that whether we're in the field now, whether we want to get in the field, or we're just in a career transition, your transferable skills are incredibly relevant to your next career jump, whether that's going to be a promotion, a role change, a company change. Knowing what you have to offer is really important. Now, this is how I've utilized my skills. And you can do the same. It's automatically going to be what is good for you and what's comfortable for you. So I started making notes about my skills and how I use them. So let's look at, for example, my teaching political science. Okay, well, there's some big theories in political science. I had to take those theories and deliver them to maybe a group that's never really been in a political science course before. How do I do that? I'm taking information. I am making it digestible by breaking it down to little parts, and then I'm communicating it. All of those parts that I did are skills. So I started making notes about them, how I use them, why they're relevant. Then I started doing informational interviews. Now, an informational interview literally is talking to someone in a field you're interested in and asking them questions. For me, it was asking what skills that are not technical, because I can't code, okay? I've learned to code and I hate it. I hate web development and I hate CSS with my whole heart. But I learned that now. So I knew that wasn't for me. But what other skills do I have that are relevant in this field? I started asking questions, started taking notes. Once I understood that, put my skills and what skills would be relevant in the field together, I focused on how they fit and I started talking to experts. I started asking experts, I can technically write. It turns out I've written multiple policies at one of my jobs. I know that this is something that will be useful here. How could I go about showcasing that relevance even further? And so I did, and this is just kind of putting that note on there, is recognizing your skills and asking these questions are always helpful. And to be honest, people want to help, right? So many people are scared to ask for help. And this is where mentorship comes in. But if you look at even the highest C-level executives, executives in general, they've had to ask for help once or twice before too, right? They understand. And this comes into mentorship. So mentorship is incredibly important. Really, really important. How you find a mentor is up to you. All right. For those who aren't super familiar with mentorship, it's literally finding someone in a field, or maybe they're not directly in the field, could be a recruiter, who knows, that you could build a relationship with and ask questions. That's what it is. They're there to support you in your career. They're there to support you in life. There's a lot of different aspects of mentorship. For me, I had 3 of them. Now I've had multiple, but for my security journey, it was 3. One I found on Twitter and they were like, I'm going to be a mentor. I was like, oh, take me. And then they did. One I found because I snuck into a conference. Okay, I'm not proud of that. I pretended to be a student and then went into a conference. It was online, but I really wanted to go to it. And I was like, yeah, I'm a student. I'm in Coursera. I'm a student. Anyway, I met this amazing mentor there. That mentor got me the job at Wave, which was awesome. Then my 3rd mentor I met while I was in Wave. They were at the time head of the security department. All 3 of them are still my mentors today. I met with them monthly. And I mean, I was proactive with this. I recognized that they are giving us Maybe they're giving me 30 minutes of their time. I'm taking advantage of that. I am updating them on what I've been doing, how I've been doing, looking for their perspective. For the job that I currently have, it literally happened because I messaged my mentor and said, I took a web development class. I didn't like it that much, but I feel I have some skills that could be relevant. Could we meet and you could help me navigate how to manage this? When we met, they said, listen, that's great. There's a job opportunity at my company. Do you want an interview? That was it, right? So it's that matter of keeping relationships, following up and asking questions. Mentorship is all about relationship building. It's a two-way street. I just can't take. You have to respect too. And then it comes into confidence building. So far, we've gone over how I've been lost, how I use my transferable skills and mentorship to find opportunity. When you put all this together, when we know ourselves and what we're capable of, this helps us build confidence. And I'll be honest, at my worst in my career, I was really low confidence. I hated myself. I thought I couldn't achieve anything, and I'm always a go-getter, but I was sad. I was in a bad spot where I just felt like no matter what I did, I wasn't going to succeed. But recognizing, hey, I have all these tools in my toolbox. Let me bring them out and we'll build something together. That built up my confidence. But there's one thing I do want to talk about briefly, and it's imposter syndrome. I'm not sure if I actually feel very certain that most of you have heard about imposter syndrome before, and it can be a real jerk. So imposter syndrome simply is, I feel I don't belong. As someone career transitions, they sometimes feel, oh God, I don't belong here. I shouldn't be here. But that's not right. And everyone, executives, CEOs, entrepreneurs, all have suffered from imposter syndrome. But it's not, don't let that stop you. I feel imposter syndrome every day. Someone says an acronym. I have no idea what it means. I'm new to security. I don't know what this is. So I have to Google it. Somebody asked me to do a procedure. I don't know what that procedure is. And you know what? It can make me feel pretty dumb. But I have to bring myself back and go, no. I'm not dumb. I'm good at what I'm doing. I just don't know this. And that's okay. Right? So it's all about taking those tools in the toolbox that we had, putting them together and reminding ourselves, I don't know everything. And just because I'm new somewhere does not mean I don't belong. And I will say, from my experience in security thus far, I've had a great welcoming. I've had the biggest support. People understand. They want you there. They want to help, ask questions, engage, right? It's all about what you can bring, and they know that you're worthy of being there. So they want to learn from you and you want to learn from them. It's never a bad thing. But taking all of this, we're going to back up everything, backing up the train. Why is it relevant? Okay, gone over my story, transferable skills, mentorship. I threw a lot at you guys in a very short period of time. Why is this relevant? It's going to be knowing what we have to offer is valuable, but it's also relevant for hiring managers or even people looking to network and see what kind of talent is out there. Diversifying our workforce is important, and a wide variety of skills in the industry is good. Diversity is strength. We may want to hire someone who's technical. Great, we can, but maybe also there's somebody out there who doesn't have those technical skills, but is a perfect fit for the company, a perfect fit for the team. When it comes down to it, technical skills, though it might take some time, can be taught. Soft skills can't always be taught. Patience, not confidence, communication, teamwork, team building, not all of them can be taught, but I can be taught how to, use a command line, for example. I can be taught that. I might not be great at it right away, but you can help me build that up. So really it's about diversifying our skills. And one thing I'm seeing a lot of is, well, I'm trying to get out there. I'm trying to find people to come into this company, to diversify, to bring new skills. let's build this even bigger. Let's maybe make some workshops, engage. Let's go to speaking events like we're doing now, right? It's all about making those relationships and developing them further, I guess, is where I'm going with that. But purpose. What is the purpose of this entire thing? I have ranted and raved, and I'm hoping that I can stop soon so you can talk to me. That would be good. But the purpose of this is, it took me a long time to find my own value. I went through ups and downs. I've had really bad managers. I mean, managers who told me I could never succeed. I've had people in my corner being like, no, you can do it. I've had everything I've had someone tell me to smile more. I've had someone tell me that I can never be part of an IT committee because that's not what I do or I'll be good at. But then I've also had people say, I'm so excited when you get into security, it's going to be awesome, right? So it took me a long time and a very crazy little journey to know my value and to grow. And the thing is that you can know your value too, and you can grow. And I didn't mean for this to rhyme, but if you need help with this, let me know. Oh yeah, didn't mean for that, but it works. And bringing in the lessons, networking works. People are helpful. People will help you. Mentorship is awesome. Ask someone for mentorship. The worst case they're going to say to you is no. And if that's the worst, that's not a big deal. That's okay. InfoSec is huge. I'm saying this again, it's giant. Okay, I literally, when I first started with my dream of InfoSec, I thought, oh, I'm going to have to be a programmer. I'm going to have to be a hacker. No, you do not have to be that. They need policy writers. They need GRC analysts. They need trainers and educators. There's a whole section in the government dedicated to academia here in Canada, where they go to literal universities and talk about security. There is so much in security. It's so big. Research and talk to people and know your value. Okay, you are successful, you are important, and your skills are really relevant. So it's okay. You yourself can do what you put your mind to and recognize that careers change. They twist and turn. You might be a teacher, and then all of a sudden one day you're in security living your best life, right? It can happen. So I know this was short. I kind of sped through it, but it's just an easy conversation and I want to hear from you. So do you have any questions, stories, anything like that? I'd love to hear them.
Awesome. So you guys can put some questions in the chat. I don't know, Jen, do you have a question or comment since you were here?
Had to unmute myself here, being too happy.
I loved it.
I don't know. No specific questions at the moment, I guess.
Oh,
Tony.
Tony.
Yeah, let me just.
Is there a way we can just open this up? Like,
yeah,
everyone, please don't like send porn or anything there. Okay.
All right, Tony, you should be able to now ask a question.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let me see if I can turn on my video. Yeah. Sorry, I'm at work. Hi,
cool.
Ashley. Thank you very much for the session. It was short, but very, very educative and informative. Thank you very much. I have a question. So the thing is, how are you able to filter from all the noise? When I say noise, I mean, you talk to different people, and like, I work in the film industry, but I want to transition into cybersecurity, and I had a special interest in GRC, but I talk to people, and then you hear people open your eyes to risk management, vulnerability management, and it keeps going on. And then there's a lot, like, how do you like quiet the noise and focus? Because at the end of the day, it looks like you're trying to catch, like you said, cybersecurity is wide. You're trying to catch so many balls. And so how do you like narrow down, say, you know what, let me, focus into this and then try to get as much knowledge as I can?
I think that's a good question, because, and I feel that is coming to like career decision making. So GRC is a really cool industry. There's a lot to it. Yes, you have risk management, you can have policy making, there's compliance pieces. And ultimately, I think for quieting that noise is just going to be you looking at your skills, what you've accomplished, and how they're going to fit in that industry. So let's just look at film. You do so much in film that is relevant to GRC, in my opinion. There's a lot of risk management in film. You have to be very precise in film. Like one mistake and that's millions of dollars down the drain. Like if I look at it that way. So, right? Like, you have a pile of skills you're using every day that's super relevant. All right. So I guess sort of where I want to go with this is don't quiet the noise, absorb it. Absorb everything. They're like, oh, well, risk management. You can go, okay, well, I've done risk management. Here's how. Oh, vulnerability management. Well, I can tell you all about that because in the film industry, we have tons of vulnerabilities. Here's what they are. Right? It's a manage of you're being delivered a lot of information, but you as a person have so many abilities that you're going to be super successful in it. It's going to be a matter of, I think, having more of those conversations, but focus down, right? Looking at all the stuff that you do in the industry, you can say, well, I've saved, like me working in the film industry, I've saved a company $10,000 by doing this, by not dropping a camera, let's say. Okay, like there's so many. And you can say, how can I transfer this into GRC, right? It's going to be how you ask those questions. And then you're going to get more specific answers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
So,
Like, go ahead.
Let me answer that question from somebody who hires, right? So,
Yeah.
So one of the things that we now do for if you look at the job descriptions that we have out there, right? One of the things I ask every candidate to do is a presentation about themselves, right? And I'm actually hiring a number of roles where I said, cybersecurity experience is not a key requirement, right? Because I'm trying to do that transfer. So what I look, right, is your proactivity. See and I tell you what I've seen, the good and the bad, right? I've seen the good, which is the people that embrace that and they are proactive. And I've seen the ones who go, oh, that's a cool opportunity. Let me jump into that boat, right? Now, let's be clear, right? Cybersecurity, it's not just an insane industry, it's actually very profitable. It's actually very well paid at the moment, right? Because there is a massive skill shortage. Like, they actually, like, if you look at your career path, you're going to be earning more in the next 5 or 10 years than probably you would ever right?
I would ever earn. You're 100%.
Exactly, right? But look, and that's a testament to your skills, but it's a testament of the industry is super hot, right? It's a benefiting time, right? There's moments in time where the people that were, riding horse and carts were very well paid, right? Not anymore, right? So we happen to be an industry that has a lot of things. So what I would say, Tony, is that you want to be proactive, right? The best way to get into the industry is, first of all, find things that are very directly related to the skills that you already have, right? So I'll give you a couple of ideas of things you can do that I would say in the cybersecurity space is really, really bad, right? I think GRC, that people that understand risk and have common sense, there's a massive space there, massive, right? The other one is project management and program management, right? Like security, we're horrible at it, right? Stakeholder management, we're horrible at it, right? I'm hiring project managers, right? I'm hiring people to manage projects. And, but here's the thing, right? You have to have the spark. What I realized is that if you don't have the spark for cybersecurity and you just want to jump because it's a hot industry or it's well paid or whatever, that is the wrong thing to do, because you have a handicap that you don't have cybersecurity experience. So what you want to balance by that handicap is the fact that if you compare yourself with another cybersecurity person who's going for the same job, you should have more experience. Like you should be a better manager, you should be a better professional, you should be a better practitioner, simply by the fact that you've been doing other things in filmmaking. Like, Ashley, some good examples, right? There's stuff in filmmaking that, it's super critical. So you want to start making that connection, but then is the hands-on, right? Like, for them, when I look at the presentations, what I look at people do is I look at their effort in joining cybersecurity, and I care more about the effort and the path than where they are at that moment in time. So you need to start hacking, right? You know, there's some great vulnerable by design applications. It's a great way to learn. You know, start getting involved in communities. Look, the Summit's a good one. OWASP is another. You know, the Hacking Purple thing, you know, by Tanya, right? It's amazing. So join those communities, and then and go for it. Because what, you know, Ashley did, which I think shared imposter syndrome is not letting us do, is that if you look at her career path, she was showing an insane amount of skills. She was showing proactivity. She was showing ability to reach, ability to process information, ability to go and get on with it. And that's what I really look for when I hire. I hope that helps. Oh, but actually, another really good one is incident response. Right?
Yeah, for
Incident
sure.
response, it's a great place to go in. But I would say, look, find your calling in cybersecurity, right? The beauty is that it's such a wide thing. Like when you read, like, look at, when you read about cybersecurity, what are you reading? Are you reading about the latest hack? Are you reading about development of applications? Are you reading about SecDevOps? Are you reading about, you know, incident response or incidents? Are you reading about policies? Are you reading about, you know, hacking? You know, there's a massive area, right? Education, you know, like filmmaking, right? Like, you know, we have a massive job to educate our community, right? And our users. So where is the calling? And then, you know, and that's kind of what I would say you want to start with.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's so many, when I first started in this field, I was stuck in that. I think I was stuck in that idea that I was going to wear a hoodie and I was going to be hacking. And I was like, I'm never going to be able to do that because I would hate it. Like, I know what I like and what I don't like. There, see? Complete stereotype. But it's not, you know, there's a huge framework out there that has multiple jobs and they fit under each part. I mean, even security training and security awareness, giant, huge, because companies need to know where they're going wrong, right? And if you don't tell people what they're doing wrong, because most incidents are people-led.
Yep.
People made the mistake, right? Train the people. But yeah, you're going to be a huge success. Find me on LinkedIn and we can have a chat if you want, Tony.
Yep.
I'm totally open.
And by the way, Tony, you're already very special. You know why? Because you're here. You asked
Yeah.
me a question.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
true.
you.
No, look, this is already a major milestone, right? Like, think about it. You know, there's not 20 Tonys in here, right? It's you,
True.
right? And the imposter syndrome is very real, and you have to realize that, you know, you have a lot of these skills. And like Ashley's saying, the worst thing that can happen is people say no. Like, be proactive, right? And I'll say most people in this industry have a soft spot for helping somebody that wants to get in, because we've all been there, right? Like, I have imposter syndrome, maybe a little bit different than others, and I might go over it a bit quicker, but you know, everybody has that. So, you know, get on with it, right? And just start doing it, start testing it, start writing, you know, making films about it.
Yeah,
Cool.
Can I be in your film?
Billy? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I think
film,
Billy
man.
did have his hand up at one point.
Okay.
I was going to say,
Thank you.
Billy asked a great question. So, Billy, do you want to chip in?
Hi, Billy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, I tried several careers in the past. I was in regular as a security guard at one point, call centers. I know a bit about PCI compliance and things like that. But I'm just wondering, are there pathways to employment in this field that does not require spending a lot of money on tuition and schooling and things like that?
Oh my God, Billy, I didn't spend any money.
I don't look for it. Like, I
No.
kid you not. Like, I absolutely do not
Don't look for that stuff.
I spent some time today reviewing a bunch of CVs and actually presentations. And what I review is the presentation that they submit. And I look at the job titles that they have. That's it.
Yeah,
And
like when I went into this, literally no money. I think I spent $30 on a course in Coursera and I didn't finish it. And you want to know why? It was because the information really like wasn't what I needed. mine was all about in-person information and asking questions. So when I ask a question, all of a sudden they were like, listen, you should be part of this community, or, hey, you should be part of this newsletter. And so now, I would sign up for a newsletter and I would get continuous newsletters on, first it was fraud. And I was like, I don't know anything about fraud. So I got these fraud newsletters and I started reading it. Then I started talking to people in banks. And I was like, can you explain to me, like my friends at banks, can you explain to me what this is? What kind of fraudulent behavior? And do you see this in the bank? And they're like, yes. And from there, I just kept going. Like, we think, and I know, like, I understand, because when you're in that career transition right at the start, you're like, I need new skills. I need to re-educate. I need to go to university. That's the only way I'll get a job. But I'll tell you that a lot of people coming out of university don't get jobs. And it's like, how are they getting a job if they don't know how to talk about what they've done? Right? For anything, when it comes to career transition, if you can make me imagine you doing that skill, if you can make me picture you in that position that I'm hiring for, I'm more likely to hire you.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And also, one of the things we ask the candidates to do is, and sometimes you might need to reverse engineer this on the job spec, is that we listed the areas of responsibility. And for the candidates who didn't have cybersecurity experience, what I asked them to do is to say, show me how your other experience relates to this, right? And again, you've been in the industry for a while. Look at the stuff that you've been doing, and there's going to be direct connections. But if I could answer that question, is there a pathway of employment in the field? I would say one of the best pathways is to be involved in open source projects, especially around security, because you'll be amazed. Look, being involved in Open Security Summit, right? I know a lot of people who got great jobs out of Security Summit, which is great, right? But it's a small community. It's actually, these things are not that big, right? You go to OWASP, right? OWASP, it's not, it might look massive organization, but the projects are sometimes tiny, right? But they might have a massive impact. And the beauty of that is that if you participate in open source project and you're able to add value, that tells so much about you, really. And the same thing for Tony, right? Like, for me, if I see on anybody contribution to open source projects, for me, that person's already very interesting immediately, because there's already a bar of entry that you have to go through, right? Open source projects are also very temperamental, right? So, they don't just accept stuff. So if you're able to do contributions on projects, and they're a great way to learn, right? Because a lot of these projects, they don't have other people doing it. So you can go and you say, hey, I want to help security here. I want to help these mappings. I want to do this. Guess what? From some of those projects, it's better that than not having it. So you'll find a receptive kind of ear, right? By the way, I'm doing a session tomorrow on how to start with cybersecurity. I want to join that one too.
And I mean, Billy, honestly, I think for you, it might not hurt to find some mentorship. Like, start having discussions with people in the field, because you've worked in security, you've been a security guard, so you understand kind of the basis of it. It's just, there might be some things you have to learn. That's all. Get a mentor. I know, Billy, we went to school together, actually. I will happily mentor you, Billy.
Cool.
I'll be messaging you later.
Good.
But Billy, like, what Ashley was saying about being proactive mentorship, right? It's very true, right? Like, you should be able to find a lot of mentors by just asking around, but then asking good questions, right? Like, be proactive in the mentorship that you want to, but you'll find that a lot of people will give you mentorship. And by the way, if somebody says no, or right, there's a difference between saying no and not replying. So look, put it this way, if you send me a LinkedIn message, there's a 20% chance I will see it, right? But because there's, I go there in blocks, right? But if you say it again, don't worry, that's fine, until I say no. It's like, it's okay, right? But don't expect that the people on the other side have the time, but also the more you make it easy to help, right? Like, if you come to me and says, I want mentorship, you gave me a problem, because I need to think about how do I mentor you, right? And then I have a pile of other problems, right? And guess what? Probably I'm not going to reply to that one, right? Not because I don't want to help. I try to help as much as I can, but you also need to make it easy for the person to help you. So if you can have specific questions, specific things, that's how how it works.
And it doesn't hurt to have intros too, right? So if I knew someone that I thought would be relevant, I can introduce you, and that can be your in, right? Oh, thank you. Ashley told me that you did this and this. I'm interested in that. It's how we taught this when I was in careers was called an elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds on an elevator to talk to someone and ask them a question to make an impact. How will you do it?
Yeah.
Right? You want to get them to be interested to help you, but make it valuable for them.
Cool. Can we bring Timo? You want to ask a question? Timo is also another presenter here, and he's done a lot of sessions. You should be able to unmute and share your screen if you want. He has the coolest microphone. I don't know if he's on his office at the moment.
Oh, it does look cool.
Hey, Timo.
I just wanted to add to open source contributions, you have to be careful because in some open source projects in which I'm working, there are kind of useless commits from people to get these contributions to their projects. So they are really doing nothing, like empty commits. So you have
But that's what, Timo, that's why I was saying that having approved commits, it's
Yeah,
already
okay, yeah,
a value that
approved
you
commit
added
is
a lot of
good.
value, right? Because the open source communities are brutal at going, no, this is not good. I'm not taking it.
I love this.
That's correct.
Cool. So I had a question for you, Ashley, and everybody has questions, please chip in, right? Is what are good ways? And I'm asking this because, you know, I want to get your view, right, on the pathway, right? What are good ways to measure the enthusiasm and the passion for cybersecurity?
Wow, man, that's a big question. That's huge. Okay, so I don't know if you can, I think they have to be personally measured, right? In that sense that, like, it's kind of like what you were saying, where you're asking people to present on things that they've done that are relevant to that job, but could be transferable. To me, that's a passion, right? Like that would be showcasing passion. That'd be showcasing like enthusiasm. If someone comes to me, like I've already had, I think 4 people already like contact me on LinkedIn already. That is enthusiasm, right? Because you're showing interest. And I think that's where it goes for that relationship side. If we're going to start networking, start building this field, start learning, start engaging, diversify, I want to help people who are just as excited as I am, right? And you can be lost and confused. That's okay. Like we're humans, no problem there. Our feelings are valid. How we want to look at the world is okay. But ultimately, if you're messaging me and being like, oh my God, I really need to learn more. Can we talk? Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Even taking a step is enthusiasm.
Cool. So here's another question, and
Okay.
Adam is going to create hopefully some small little videos out of this one. And this is definitely one that we should make a small video. So here's a question. If you could have a message for somebody that should cybersecurity, but is not, right? So somebody that should do that job, but hasn't done the click yet. What would you say to that person for it to join our industry?
Can you froze for a quick second? Can you repeat it?
All right. Okay. Let me ask the question again. All right.
Okay.
So the question is, what would you say to somebody that should join the cybersecurity industry, but has not because he hasn't connected that they could do it? So when they have imposter syndrome, in a way that they think, it might be interesting, but they never almost consider it. So now that you're in the cybersecurity world, what would you say to your older 3 years ago, or somebody even more senior that has not done that jump?
Honestly, okay, stop giving a shit. That's what I would tell myself. Stop caring about what other people are going to think of you, or that you can't do it, because that is BS. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. Okay, so someone who has all the skills, and I think though with that question, you cannot force people to do anything they do not want to do.
Of course.
Right? But if I'm seeing someone that's just going to rock it, or even for myself, like even 3 years ago, I'm like, man, I was ready 3 years ago to enter this field. I just had no idea. Right? Stop with your BS. Stop questioning yourself and do it. Take the step, ask questions. we all have skills and abilities that are super relevant and going to be useful in this industry. So get out there and start kicking ass.
And it's a great industry, right?
It's a wicked industry. I've never been more happy in my job than I am now. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
It's
But that's
cool.
the message, right? The message is that, in a way, if you find your spot in cybersecurity, it's an amazing industry to join, right? Welcoming, friendly, you know.
Well, they want more
encourages-
women too. You know what I mean? Like being a woman in security, I was worried because I'm like, I'm going into a field that is non-traditional for women. It is mostly men. How am I going to perceive? Am I going to be able to be authentically me? Which sometimes is I wear my emotion on my sleeve. Other times I can be cranky.
Really?
Who knows? Yeah, that's who I am. I am authentically me and I will be that way forever, happily. But I was worried, oh God, I'm going into this industry. Will I have to change? No, I didn't have to change. In fact, like I've been incredibly lucky to have a manager who is by far the most supportive person I've ever met. My teammates, I love them so much. I love my team with my whole heart. They're wonderful. Everyone I work with and everyone I've met in the field so far has been stellar. People are in my corner. They want me to succeed. And right now I'm a program manager. Who knows what I'll be next week, right? I could grow and it's amazing.
So you're basically saying that if somebody's not happy with their job and they have a huge amount of talent, they should look at cybersecurity.
They should, yeah. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Cool.
Yeah, talk
Tony,
to us.
you had your hand up.
Hi. Hi.
Yes, so I want to ask a question I'm sure you guys have heard over and over again. It's about the entry bar, the level of entry. Like when you go online to job boards to look at entry level jobs, and you'd see requirements that are not entry level requirements. Like I saw one that required you to have a CISSP, and that's not entry level. You know, they ask for certification, CRISC, CISM, and then
You don't want to work with them.
Yeah,
Look,
don't
put it this
work
way,
with them.
You know, okay, this to be a joke. I have to be careful with this. But if somebody I interview is super proud of their CISSP, for me, that's a red flag. Right. And if a job, like if that's the main thing, right? Just be clear, right? If a job says you have to have a CISSP, you don't want to work for that, literally, because what they're telling you is what they are reviewing. So
Their
you're better
expectations
off.
are unrealistic.
Yes, you're better off looking for job specs, right? And less ones that you could see that they come from a much better place, and then you invest on it. So like I said, look, create a presentation about yourself. I guarantee you, if you make a presentation about yourself, and I've posted stuff about this before, right? And I'm happy if you want to review it, I'll give more pointers. You were already cut through a lot of things because people send these CVs and they're freaking horrible. I can't review.
Oh, yeah.
CVs.
But also on that point is they put their dream candidate in these job descriptions, but
crazy.
ultimately that person is not real. The dream candidate, they have to have all of these things and do this and do this. That person barely exists. So don't get thrown off by things that you don't match. Look at what you do match and focus on that. You know, it's just ridiculous expectations by an employer for their dream, but they don't exist. And also, and I say this because I did it myself, go out and make yourself a job. Go talk to employers, tell them what you can do, how you're so great at it, and be like, I'd be great for your company to do this. Make yourself a job. They exist.
Look, when you submit something, if you already imagine that you work for that role, you should describe for that, because the worst thing that can is you learn something. For example, like if you Google Babylon security strategy today, you're going to find my presentation of security strategy for Babylon Health that I wrote when I was applying for a role there. And I did it because I was doing some research on the company and I realized that I'm learning so much, I might as well put it somewhere. So I created a presentation. I literally, okay, I don't say you need to do something at that depth, but that's how you roll, right? Like if you want something, you prepare for it, you create and you send it to them. The worst thing that can happen is you learn something. So the next time you do it, you're a bit better.
Yep.
And you imagine yourself in that role, right? And that's how you get into the industry. And again, like open source is a good way because it gives you some experiences. But like Ashley was saying, start talking to people. And look, my trick is ask for feedback. Like I got jobs because I've asked for feedback. I say, hey, here's the latest version of my CV, which you can find on my LinkedIn. What do you think about it? And people then give you comments, you share some stuff, but also, they know, oh, he's looking for a job, right? So how many people in the world know that you're looking for that opportunity? Right? So
True, right?
that's
Putting
simple,
yourself
right?
out there, is
Yeah.
never bad. But you also, I will say this, that it's a matter of comfort too. Put yourself out in a way that you're comfortable with, and a way
Yep.
that you feel you can be successful with. All right.
I
Some
agree.
people will try to network, but they're not ready to network, and then they end up feeling worse about their job prospects than they did at the beginning.
Yeah,
That's
but it's a
beyond.
competitive space, right? That's the
Yeah.
problem. The problem is that, you want to get into cybersecurity, you're already starting from a position of disadvantage, right? But I actually think that the people who come outside cybersecurity have a huge amount of skills that they need to show. But, Tony, it's a good example. Like if you're in the film industry, you say you're a good communicator, right? So cool. I'm calling your bluff, right? So if you're a good communicator, the first person you should be able to communicate well is you. It's like, or somebody else, right? Or take a company, like create something that, like if you want to get a job on Ashley's company, you should make a presentation about the company and even her, or whatever, from the information that you gathered, in the public domain. That will cut through every other candidate, and they will hire you on potential.
I think too, one thing, I'm glad you mentioned that, is I think one thing that happens as a new candidate in any industry is we don't want to talk about ourselves. Like, we are trained as a society not to talk about our accomplishments, because it makes us look like we have a big head and we're full of ourselves.
No.
And particularly for women too, I feel that often that, I shouldn't talk about myself, I will be full of myself. I'm going to talk about my accomplishments till I'm blue in the face. And the reason being is, if I don't tell you, you don't know.
Look, my
Right?
challenge when I review a CV, which I don't, by the way, is I don't know if that was you or you just happened to be on a great team.
Yep, that's it.
You could, I'm not saying you're lying on a CV. I'm not saying, some
It's
people
how
might
you
do
showcase
that a little bit, but that's not what I'm interested. What I'm interested in is, what did you do in
Mhm.
that part?
And
right?
how you did it. What were
And
your
how you did it.
successes?
Exactly.
Tell me. Lay it out for
And
me.
that
so I can
level,
picture it.
yeah. Look, I hired, Petra. I always have to bring Petra on this one. Petra is one of my favorite rock stars that I hired. When we hired her, right, she would not get a job based on her CV, but she had on her presentation, she said, I work in A&E, so I know about pressure. I play competitive volleyball. I know about teamwork, right? I'm studying cybersecurity. I want to learn. Great.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I just want to make sure she was a real person, because I was already convinced that she
You're
was
like, this person's great, but are they real? Like,
absolutely. Cool. Sorry, Timo.
I just wanted to add that often jobs in cybersecurity, you don't find them by looking for it. You have to apply or talk with the people from companies, tell them I want to work in that field with the right people, obviously. But often you don't find a job because there are no job offers. Because it's the most companies I'm working with, they are not having job offers, because we discussed that it takes 2 to 3 years until they find one, so they don't even offer it. So you have to apply by yourself.
so that's pretty much making yourself a job, as I said, right? I have these skills and abilities. Your company could utilize them. Here you go. Because
I've done that. I got a job description that said, this is what you want to do. And I go, this is what I want to do. So it's like, but look, the beauty of this is that cybersecurity is still an immature enough industry that you can busk your way, you can literally hack your way into the industry, which is, look, there's industries that you can't, right? I would say the medical industry, you probably can't anymore. Maybe 200 years ago, 100 years ago, you could. But the cybersecurity industry is still so immature. There's still so much growth. We still have so much stuff to do that you can literally find that path into it.
And then, it doesn't have to be a linear path. It will twist and turn. It can be different. Your skills are transferable. Come join us. Please come join us. Have some fun with me. I love it.
Brilliant. Ashley, this was a great session. I love it. Great way to
this is
end the
fun.
day. And you're in Canada, right?
I am. I'm in East Coast Canada, so Nova Scotia.
Oh, cool. I'm in
Cool.
Toronto.
Yeah, I saw. I love it. Someday
Good
we'll meet
stuff.
when I go to Toronto, or you can come here and we can hang out by the ocean.
Absolutely.
Ocean.
You have some harsh winters there, man, I have to say. You
Well,
have
no.
proper
Where are
winters.
you at?
London.
Oh, yeah, you're very rainy.
Yeah.
And
it's
hey, you
alright.
had a crazy heat wave.
Yeah, I used to live in the Algarve, which is in Portugal, which is very sunny.
Oh, very nice.
So
I love
good.
it.
Look, we have to do more sessions like this. This is
Yeah,
really,
we
really
do.
cool.
Whenever you need
Absolutely.
me, please reach out. I love doing these.
Let's do a session about GRC and risk and compliance and common sense.
I love it.
Brilliant. All right.
Awesome. Well,
Stop
thank you so
recording.
much for coming, everyone. I really appreciate it. Add me to LinkedIn. I'm very grateful for this opportunity.